out why you shouldn't be using Tinder or other type of dating apps, and why you shouldn't be speaking to women on the street, and what alternatives there are. So, as you guys know, that if you're on an app where you can get matched or not matched, and most guys do not get matched with the women they want to get matched with, it doesn't make that much sense, and I'm going to explain to you why. If you see a woman that you like to meet on a dating app, and you say you post like, you put like, you like her, you swipe right, and she sees you and swipes left, so she never matches you. She actually communicated in some form of fashion that she thinks herself as more important, higher value than you are. Okay? So it's actually a toxic metaframe. I'm just uploading a video explaining toxic metaframes as well, so that'll be uploaded in like 2 hours. But you're basically feeling bad. You're feeling bad for every person that you want to meet, but that person doesn't want to meet you. It's very asymmetrical. And the more you keep doing this, the more it actually messes with your psychoenergetic field. The more you will feel that you're not desired by anyone. Especially if you have something where you might get a match, but it never turns out to a date. For all the years that I used dating websites or apps, I've maybe gotten, depends a little bit also on the app, but maybe I've gotten like 2 dates in total in my whole life. And this is very interesting because any woman that I felt like, oh my God, I think I have to match with her, not just because of looks or something like, but really when I felt like we could hit it off, we could really understand each other well. It turns out that I didn't get matched by that person. And it's, to understand it, it's not being salty. It's what it's actually happening is that you honestly, genuinely felt this could be an interesting person to meet, but that person decided on their end, nah, I don't think so. And it's the same a little bit in real life. So when you go on the street and you speak to someone in real life, it's very similar. Of course, they're going to feel your energy and you have more of an opportunity than if you went on the internet, because you have more of a chance to communicate the character you are and so forth. But it usually doesn't work out anyway. And even if it did, like in terms of like this person is going on a date with me, or I even get them into bed, maybe if you're like really good, I don't know, pickup artist or something. The problem is that what's the likelihood of you being compatible with her or really having a match where you're like, okay, I want to see this person again, I want to be in a relationship with them, etc. And so that's, I was hoping that there wouldn't be any. I get confused when there's, as a hypersensitive person, I hate when there's layers of sound or like stimuli from the outside. And suddenly they popped up here and making noise. So it makes it difficult to concentrate. Oh well, there's nothing I can do. But I could actually put earplugs in. Could do that. It's like, but you never know how long they stay here. Hold on. I really hate. For For me, it's always extremely annoying. I'm not very compatible with Spanish. When I was young, it was better. Hold on. Okay. We're probably gonna leave, but anyway, I'm not in the mood to hear anyone else. I think that they're leaving. Okay. So, and I figured out what basically the best way is for myself, and I want to share this and see how you see it for yourself as a reflection. So basically, that was like a really dumb bitch. I just saw her. No wonder I don't like her. That voice. She looked like a really dumb bitch. The thing is, each one of us is pretty complex in a way, and we have our own interests, characters, and so forth. And if you're on a dating app, none of that is visible. And even if you meet someone on the street, it's highly improbable that it's a match. And it's interesting because, of course, the more normal you are, the higher probability that you match with someone random. That is also normal. But the more like outlier you are, the less likely. So, for example, you're really into, with me, for example, being a tantra masseur, who am I going to tell I'm a tantra masseur? Like, who's going to accept that? Even if I'm not a tantra masseur anymore, most people are like, what the fuck? Like, what is that? Like, I cannot, have a partner who even has done that in the past or whatever. So if I go onto the internet and I speak about, being a tantra masseur, or that I was a tantra masseur, then people could be specifically interested in that and be like, oh, this is interesting. This is something I'm into as well. And I think this is the reason why more and more people are actually meeting over the internet than in real life, because the likelihood of meeting someone who has similar interests is just much higher. But the problem is, a lot of these dating apps and websites have taken over, and they've replaced a functioning system of, or half-functioning system of trying to find somebody who has similar interests, to just, random stupid swiping about, how someone looks, is if you find them superficially attractive. And so for myself, I found out that the very best thing is to have a very strong online presence and be very authentic about who you truly are. So instead of, trying to hide the fact that you like XYZ, or, putting that information for a little bit later because you're afraid that you will be judged, that you won't be swiped correctly, then you will feel. So if you are very authentic and you put yourself online with a strong presence, maybe connected even to your job, the likelihood of meeting someone who sees you online and says like, this is really the person that I want, because, I already know like 40% of who they are, I already know, that makes a lot of sense. And actually, I met a couple of my ex-girlfriends I met through YouTube. But you have to have a certain presence and a certain reach, distribution, for people to see you naturally. Because if only 3 people see you, it's very unlikely. I remember, I think I have a good example. There was a guy, a German dude, who went with the bicycle from Germany, very young guy, maybe 25, so he went with the bicycle to China. So from Germany to China, and he documented everything on, I don't know if Instagram or YouTube or both or TikTok. He documented everything. At a certain point, he met a woman. She was interested in what she was doing. They connected on Facebook, and they kept writing each other, and they were writing more and more messages, long messages, and basically keeping a friendship over the internet. And she was really interested in what she was doing. And it turns out, that she then flew, I think, to China. They met up and they became a couple. And I think that nowadays makes much, much more sense, than any of the other possibilities. It doesn't mean that you cannot have luck and meet someone by random. But to be honest, quite for example, here in Spain, in the north of Spain, whoever I talk to, there's like zero chance that could be my next girlfriend. Like zero. Anyone I see, anyone I speak to, it's like in the back of my mind is like, this is so far away from what I need in my life. And even what that person needs in their life, I guess. And then I'm just much more happier being single. And I think that story that I have, that background, that experience with online dating, I own some very large dating websites also on the internet. That can be a good reflection of where one could go. Of course, you cannot be fearful of being online, but there are so many ways to have a strong online presence. You can have, if you're a coach, it's super easy, of course, because then you do all that content and stuff. But it's basically doable for almost anything. And just show, who you are, have your own YouTube channel, show who you are and so forth. Show your Instagram, show who you are. But don't try to be someone, don't try to copy someone because, or a certain posting style or something, because that will not be authentic. So that person who sees you will have a wrong image of you. So that won't work. And for me, I would say the strongest possibility is ASMR content. I like doing ASMR content. People absolutely adore my voice in all the languages that I post. And there's a high chance. I even met one of my longtime listeners. I met her in Spain. And I often get a request like that a Spanish woman wants to get to know me on my Spanish ASMR channel. You are a little bit like slave to the algorithm in the sense like you don't know if the channel will grow or not. Sometimes the content doesn't get pushed even if you put in effort. It's kind of annoying, but you have to stick with it. The sooner you begin, the better. So if you're like 18, 19, 20 and you start to make content, your chance of meeting the perfect person through that platform in the next 5 to 10 years is very high. But, matching, trying to match random people on Tinder, that's bullshit. Especially if you have specialized interests. If you're like a normie NPC, it really doesn't matter. Because you can match with any other normie NPC. Some people have the luck that they meet, their spouse at university or something. But I don't think that there are that many that have that luck nowadays. So I just wanted to give that feedback because I don't think I've talked about it yet on this channel. And it dawned on me like the last couple of days that, these because it's interesting how many people match you, but no one wants to meet. It's absolutely really crazy. So I get a lot of women plus 40 that I would say, okay, I would be ready to meet her. She seems like interesting, attractive. But they never want to meet. They don't even respond. Like you write them 2 messages, they don't respond. I think it's just they have way too many messages. Maybe they're even, who knows what their situation is. But I always felt also that a woman that needs that app, that something is wrong with her, because most women that are just a little bit good looking, they get so many opportunities. But if they're interested in something specific and you talk about that specific thing, like spirituality, for example, then of course there's a high chance. Also, if you're like a spiritual teacher, for example, or a coach or yoga teacher, or any kind of thing that you're into, even through the clients, you can possibly meet someone. You never know. But the broader you are positioned on the internet with a strong image of what you like doing, of what authentic self, the higher the chances that a person pops up, which is like, hey, I like this guy. Yeah, and that's it for now.